All right. I've been putting in the work. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Let's get this draft started. Is it work if you're doing what you love? That's all I can say. Been some great games in this tournament so far. Andy is one that is not afraid to play some water maps, if I know Andy. But let's see. Don't remember Zaryab's map tendencies very much. Immediate ban of shoals, man. Sag. But Sunburn and Aftermath, two really fun maps. Outcrop as well. Come on, Andy. Go hyper random. I know you want to. Yes! This is why Andy's a champion of the people, man. Amazing. Zaryab very much does not like water, it turns out. And we get Serengeti at the end. Alright. Okay. Good map draft, honestly. I like all these maps. Serengeti's, you know, whatever. But I'm down for these. So, very interesting maps as well, right? Outcrop, mobility is the key there. Aftermath, you can go mobile, you can go, it's kind of like siege heavy. Serengeti can be siege heavy. Sunburn is its own thing. And who knows what hyper random is. So again, I'm curious to see how these players decide to draft for hyper random, with it being the only, this time truly the only water map in the pool, right? Nothing even tangentially has water in it otherwise, so. Okay. Let's see what they want to do. No Turks immediately, no Aztecs, sad. Celts is a big one, Tatars is a big one. Man, this round of admin bans does not like the Meso Civs. Big bans. Oh. Okay. Jeez. Okay, there. Finally, I was gonna say, it's just banger after banger Civ getting banned out. All right, we're tacking on some at the end here. Shu Armenians, Inca and Aztecs, not the most played civs, but there are a lot of big civs there in that admin ban. No Spanish this time. No Turks, so if you want to pick a water civ, it's going to be Chinese, but I don't think you pick Chinese for hyper random. Could be an interesting Hail Mary pick, actually. And just pray that it's a heavy water map, maybe. I'd be surprised, though. More big civs being banned out by the players. Lots of Sicilian bans. I feel like Sicilians are the most banned civ in actual player bans. They get banned almost every time, it feels like. People really just do not want to play up against the dungeons. Byzantine ban is interesting for Andy. And what are we gonna do here? Zaryab bans out. What's left that's big? Berbers. The Slavs are still out there this time, right? Oh, no, they aren't. Never mind. What the heck else is there? What happened here? Is Zaryab getting infinite time here to do this ban? What's going on? Did I lose it? Okay, I don't know what that was. I'll do it manually. It's fine. So Ethiopians are the last band by Zaryab. And then can I continue from here, or is it hard stuck? It just really didn't want to show me that ban. Okay, it seems to be going all right now. So probably should be double Berbers. Magyars are still out there. Bulgarians are still out there. Okay, and there they are. Good. Perfect. I named 3 civs, and those are the 3 civs that get picked in the opening there. Oh, Saracens are still there. Oh, my goodness. How do you not pick the Saracens? Neither player picking the Saracens in the first mirror pick. That's crazy, actually. They're usually they're banned out almost every time, so I just kind of assumed they were again. Is there anything else I'm super missing? No, not really. It's really rough from here on out, actually. It's really rough from here on out. I mean, Bulgarians are a good civ. They're a really good civ, but I don't know if I would have picked them over Saracens. Like, Saracens should be a quite good hyper-random civ as well, right? So I'm surprised they weren't chosen. But alright, Goths for Zaryab, Malians for Andy. There's Vietnamese. We still have Britons out there. Romans are still out there. But we're kind of scraping at the bottom of the barrel now. Yeah, the Ethiopian ban is interesting, huh? Byzantines and then Ethiopians is very interesting. Maybe the players kind of got to the point where they didn't want to ban out any more good civs, right? There comes a certain moment where you have to start counting how many good civs are left and whether you need them in the draft or not. Oh, the way. All right. I mean, we're, like I said, scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Portuguese and Wei. I think that's a pretty good Chinese pick for Andy. Like I said, it could maybe be a Hail Mary hyper-random civ, but... And what else are you picking here, right? So I don't mind that, but might not see them. Oh yeah, Britons. I think that's fine. So, Zaryab has a tough choice to make here, man. Which of these civs do you ban? I think you ban Magyars if you're Andy. What the heck do you snipe? Magyars, double Magyars. All right. Man, I don't know. Banning the Magyars over the Berbers and the Saracens, I mean, it's fine. Magyars are a great civ, but that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. Okay. I mean, I think I prefer Andy's draft by quite a bit. Sneaking the Britons at the end is not terrible. That's probably the best hyper-random civ Zaryab has. So I actually don't mind that. I think that's really good value, but like, he's going to have to find wins with like Portuguese or Hindustanis or Goths. At the same time, Andy's going to have to either play the Wei or the Chinese on not a water map. So we're going to have some interesting games in here for sure. They're going to be interesting games. I just getting the Berbers and the Saracens is so good here, man. Both of them are super good on hyper random, but they're both really good on all these maps, really, right? So that really gives Andy a lot of flexibility in where he chooses these civs. Okay, so it's going to be Serengeti first, right? And what are we thinking for Serengeti? Bulgarians, maybe? Or Teutons, maybe, for Zaryab. And then... really could be just about anything for Andy. This could be a good Malian map, but maybe Malians are for Sunburn. Might just be like Vietnamese, but Saracens or Berbers wouldn't be bad here. I have no idea. I guess I'll say Vietnamese versus Bulgarians, I guess. But let's find out. Let's jump in to game one. I'm excited. And oh my god. Tell me if you've ever seen this Civ matchup before in your DM careers. Tell me right now. Welcome in. I can do this. To game one. FreakinAndy versus Zaryab here in TDM 6 Division 1. We're starting out on Serengeti. And it is the way versus the Portuguese. So both players sharing one mind have decided to pick probably the worst Civ they'll play all series long in game one. And it's honestly, this is massive, right? This is probably the last thing either player wanted. They wanted to load up their terrible Civ against something really good from their opponent so that they could trade a bad Civ for a good Civ. Instead, they end up with one of these players is going to get a win off of atrocious civilization, which is massive as this the set goes on. I think this could end up being maybe the most important game of the series. What do we think about this? So the way are faster just because they've got the cavalry coming across the field, right? It's going to be Jambai Raiders and the Haeguang for the way. And for Zaryab, it is Halb Organ Gun opening. Very fun composition. It's one of my favorite compositions to play. I don't know. Let's see how well it does, I suppose. Theoretically, the Organ Guns counter the Jambai, and then the Halbs counter the Haeguang. But I don't know if that's how it works out. So map control for Andy is getting castles up in the middle. It's on a hill, but it is on cracked earth terrain, so that's a little unfortunate. And of course, as you would expect from Division 1, really nice eco spread behind. Zaryab much slower to get the eco rolling. Only 2 eco kills for Andy, who's going to have to pull back now that this forward castle completes. But has really stymied the initial expansion for Zaryab here, right? Okay, Tiger Cavalry are being produced now for Andy. That's probably the best unit you can make as the way. Also, Traction Trebs are coming out. They're a little bit different than they used to be. They now are better against buildings and worse against everything else. I haven't seen the new Traction Trebs enough to know exactly how good they are anymore in any situation, so we'll figure out together, I guess. Andy doing the stand ground patrolling with his Jambai. And forces Zaryab to fall back to his base. Zaryab also thinking about relics immediately. With by far the best monk in the game, by the way. The Portuguese monk skin. Is actually a baller. Traction trebuchets against Portuguese bombard cannons should be pretty bad for the traction trebs, right? Because the bombard cannons have ballistics, basically. So you really have to micro. Alright, Organ Gun numbers are looking pretty good as well. The Organ Guns, one of my favorite units in the game. They've been nerfed many, many times, but they are still a pretty good unit if you can get enough of them. And Zaryab, if his Q can come through, is looking at almost 100 Organ Guns. I don't know how many Jambai or Tiger Cav you need to swarm that, but it's going to be quite a bit. The Tiger Cav do have very good pierce armor. So maybe they can just come in and kill everything as long as there aren't too many Halbs in front. Waycav have +2 attack versus siege? Oh yeah, you're right. That's a team bonus. Okay. I forgot about that one. Oh, not the Jambai. You don't want the Jambai against the Organ Guns. That's for darn sure. Here comes the Tiger Cav, though. So the Tiger Cav will do crazy damage against the Organ Guns. And there's not much Halb left. Oh, it's a disaster for Zaryab. More Halbs have arrived. So the Tiger Cav is dying, but the Organ Guns are dying. And if the Organ Guns die, the Janbei should do very well. I still think Jambé are a little bit of an underrated unit, but, well, did enough organ guns die? Maybe not. 21 still on the field. I guess quite a few of them have come out. There's only 40 in the queue now. As the traction trebs... Maybe you can just traction treb against the organ guns. Yeah, why not, right? They're not as good against units, but I think they should still do alright there. We also have Cow on the field. Okay, let's go. Actually, Cow kind of makes the Jambé crazy. This is the attack speed buff hero. For the way, it's unironically the only hero that's ever worth making, I think, out of the three kingdoms. I would probably not group him up with the Tiger Cav, though. I think ideally you want him to be in with your Jambé. And just passively not being in the fight and allowing them to get their attacks off quicker. But maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. He's really backed up. He doesn't want any part of this fight. Oh, I don't know if the Halbs need to back up. This is such crazy micro. Andy cannot take a fight against the Halb with his Tiger Cav until the Jambé clear them out. And equally, Zaryab can't lose his Halb before the Tiger Cav go down. There are 3 castles here, I suppose. But this is a really good engagement for Andy, I think. Lots more organ guns going down. All the Tiger Cav are dead, though. And there's still 27 organ guns. The production from Zaryab has been so good on these organ guns, right? Andy keeps swooping in. I think he's going to get a full clear, but there's just so much production behind for Zaryab that there's still more and more organ guns behind this. We are reaching a pretty critical mass of traction trebuchets, though, so they should start to take out castles here quite soon. Taking pot shots at the organ guns as well. And why are we switching champions? Because we're out of wood. Zaryab out of wood here. He's been making full wood, right? Siege, organ guns, and Halb. Champions do not do nearly as well against Tiger Cav as the Halbs do. But I guess they're better than not having anything. First castle falls for Zaryab behind. Oh, massive shots by the bombard cannons into the Jambé. Oh my god. It's a travesty, actually. They all were stand grounded, grouped up on one tile. The stand ground hacks gives and it taketh away for Andy. Get absolutely clocked by the bombard cannons. Andy maybe getting, or sorry, Zaryab maybe getting a little too forward here with the organ guns and the bombard cannons. He lost a couple bombard cannons underneath the castle. Sorry, I got so hyped off that bombard cannon shot, I forgot which player was which. Little bit of a castle war up in the north, but I think Zaryab's going to be able to win that one, maybe. Andy's getting prepared from the south of this castle, though. And again, the traction trebuchets just still really do not feel very good against the buildings, right? Like, they get there eventually, but you need so many of them. It's such a big part of your army. Cow died, but he is coming back to life. Unfortunately, there's not going to be much of an army left for him to command, as the Jambé are getting quite literally machine gunned down by the organ guns. Cavalier run in as well and snipe quite a few of the traction trebuchets. Really good job by Zaryab there. The Tiger Cav say, we are the traction trebuchets, though, and they're going to roll in and kill this castle mostly by themselves at the tail end here. I think maybe the Tiger Cav could have done better down here, maybe, but that's alright. He saves the castle, right? That's big. Tiger Cav is very much needed for Andy long-term here. They're the only thing that can really deal with the organ guns that the Way can make. Except for maybe traction trebs. But I think you need Tiger Cav at all times. So saving this castle as a production building is really good. Also, just the map control for Andy, really solid. That Tiger Cav that was ripping down that castle, go into the eco for Zaryab. They kill a bunch of villagers. Zaryab's not even... What is he paying attention to? He's diving at the front. He's killing a lot at the front. but I don't know if it's worth it. He lost 30 to 40 villagers in the back while this was happening. Castle does fall for Andy in the middle, but Tiger Cav get a pretty good engagement against the organ guns. We're down below 20 organ guns on the field now. Eco is pretty far behind for Zaryab. I think that fight might have done it for Andy. Might be able to crack this defense now. The raids were so good. Oh, and they're still so good, man. We're up to 66 Eco KD in Andy's favor. Only 60 villagers on the field for Zaryab now. Now it's gonna still take quite a while for Andy to be able to push in here, but this positioning is so good. Yeah, and the Tiger Cav rolling again. The Halb were really important. The Halberdier were really important to Zaryab's unit composition here. Without them, the Tiger Cav kind of can just keep diving over and over again, and Zaryab's not going to have the resources needed to continue replacing all of these siege units long term. Andy can do this forever, right? He's got a great eco. He's had full map control, so he's been taking gold basically across the entire map this whole game. So he can make Tiger Cav forever. He also got 4 of the relics behind this. So he's feeling really good. Of course, the Portuguese do have one way to get gold. Once they run out of gold, but we're not going to make it there. Andy takes game 1 with the way. He finds the way, and all it took was to be matched up against the Portuguese. That's all it took. Yeah, Zaryab could have hung on for quite a while longer, right? It took Andy forever to get traction treb numbers back up. You need so many of them to actually threaten a castle. But Zaryab, I think, saw the writing on the wall and realized it was just a matter of time. All right, good win for the Way. And it reminded me that the Way Cav have an attack bonus versus siege weapons, which is not something I ever would have remembered otherwise. That's a good way to start the series for us. And it's a really good way to start the series for Andy. Wins with the Way. What more could you hope for in a game 1 than to win with the Way? Okay, so Zaryab's going to have his work cut out for him the rest of the way here, as he's going to have to take out some pretty big civs now. I think he really wanted Andy to go for, like, Berbers or Saracens there. Even if he hit, like, the Vietnamese or Malians, maybe. Actually, Vietnamese would have been probably as good of a matchup as you can get with the Portuguese, but okay. Let's see what game 2 is going to be on. It is going to be on Aftermath. So how are we feeling about Aftermath here? This could be Bulgarians for Zaryab. Could be Teutons. It's probably about as good of a map as it's going to get for the Hindustanis, too. For whatever that's worth. But we might not pick Hindustanis here in this set, to be honest. And then for Andy... Andy just has so many options, right? Andy could pretty much go anything here except for Chinese. It's probably not going to be Vietnamese, but it could still be. I'm going to guess, like... I'm anticipating Vietnamese or Berbers on, like, Outcrop. Malians on... Well... Maybe this is Berbers. Is it Berber time for Andy? Versus Bulgarians or maybe Teutons? That doesn't feel amazing for the Berbers, right? So maybe you go Saracens here. And then you've got Berbers for hyper random. Andy set himself up nicely here. Picking the way early on was really good for Andy as well, right? It really opened up his Civ selection from here on out. Let's find out. Let's get on to game 2. Okay, welcome in. Game 2, FreakinAndy versus Zaryab. We are here on Aftermath, and it is the Malians for Andy. I thought he might be saving those for Sunburn. We've seen Malians on Sunburn a lot to mixed results. But he goes for the Malians here. It is the Teutons for Zaryab. So, Aftermath is a very interesting map, right? Let's see first if Andy with the Farimba Lycav can find any villager kills. I don't think he's going to be able to. But there are some weak ones in here. If Zaryab's not paying attention, this lady could get caught out on the second pass. Oh. Man. Jeez, it's so close. The micro has been so good from Zaryab, actually, but now camels are arriving for Andy. He's played Ring Around the Rosie so long with that light cab that suddenly there's a lot more coming into his base. I was going to say Aftermath is a weird map in that it can be played a couple different ways, right? Sometimes you can just kill super fast. Sometimes you're playing the mobility game, trying to control the sides, but I think most often we've just seen one big push down the middle has been what Aftermath gets. That's a villager caught out. And another villager over on this side. So 2 villager kills for Andy early on in this one. But unless Zaryab... No, there is an opportunity here maybe, but I think there's enough Halb out on the field now for Zaryab. He shouldn't lose another villager. Sure. He's got some weak ones here, though. If the okay, it's fine. Andy does not notice. How outpost wall? Wait a minute. I know we go palisade walls sometimes. Why did we go outpost wall? That didn't work out. Villager is still alive, though. Well, not anymore, as now Malian Cav archers have arrived. Nice dancing by Zaryab to keep these villagers alive somehow. He does lose a few of them, though, so it's now 4-0 Eco KD in Andy's favor. Still with a great forward position. Will not be able to deny these 2 castles, it looks like, but has really delayed this one. Yeah, no super chicken castles, right? Maybe he should have. Because this one is a little bit too far out, it turns out. Also, if this castle is like here instead, it could kind of cover this castle with the Teuton crenellations, right? But longer term, this will be a little bit better, right? The castles overlap range quite heavily here, so they protect basically the entire base for Zaryab if they all go up. That's a big if right now. Andy has both trade workshops under his control, so you can see the trickle of resources coming in for him up there on the gold at least. But he is getting wood and food from it as well. Some paladins circling around for Zaryab. He might be able to take the trade workshop back, but most of the focus is right here at the front. Zaryab going for a different castle. I think he's basically given up on this one. It's already getting trebbed anyway, as Andy is really going aggro here. Forward market for Andy even. And forward TC for Andy even. Okay. He really is confident in his ability to keep this push going, I guess. The castle is denied at 90... What was that? 4%? 95%? I didn't quite see it. Sorry, I probably should have just deleted that, to be honest. The foundation, instead of trying to come back out for it one more time. But I guess it was already at like 70 or 80%, so... maybe it does not matter. Alright, Teutons are finally starting to get into gear, though. They're a bit of a slow civ, but very dangerous once they get going. And the composition is here for Zaryab. He's got Paladin out, he's got Halb out, and of course he's got the SO out, which will do very well against the Malian Cav archers because they're missing a range. But you got to keep them protected, and the Farimba camels dive in and snipe a few of them. Farimba camels do decently against siege. So you do absolutely need a camel, or need a halb out in front if you're Zaryab against the camels at all times. Nice micro here by Andy. Well, he loses it as soon as I say that, of course. Oh, don't make me regret saying that, Andy, please. He's microing against the SO. It's okay. It's okay. It's not as bad as it could have been. The caster curse is strong, but not quite that strong, I guess. Farimba Light Cav now for Andy. I think it makes a lot of sense to mix these in earlier rather than later, but Andy is kind of out of gold. Zaryab snags a trade workshop behind this, and he's got that Teuton mass up. Cav archers forgotten about briefly, and they get mowed through by the paladin. Andy maybe is going to regret this forward town center after all, as he is going to lose at least one castle here. Zaryab following up with 2 more castles. He did lose this castle, but he still got, well, he doesn't have plenty of stone anymore, but hopefully he's not losing anymore. Let's see, though. The first castle falls for Andy. He's still got 1 more, and he is fortifying the sides as well. Andy, what is this? What is this town center, bro? Farming TC. It's not even a good farming TC, though, because the unbuildable terrain from this trade workshop is laming part of it. It's also just, like, not safe at all, right? He needs a castle, like, up here somewhere to keep it safe. But he's losing castles right here. So I don't know about that one. Let's see. Also really tough to take these onager trades, right? The Malians get SO, but they do not get siege engineers. So the Teuton siege onagers should have an extra range up on the Malians. And now what? It was a decent opening for Andy, but suddenly he's lost all of his forward positioning. The eco KD is even, and he is ahead on eco, thanks to all the pressure. And he still has good map control, but can he maintain this map control? I don't know. It feels like the Teutons are just going to win every, like, straight-up fight, right? So you kind of have to play super mobility here if you're Andy, I think. Try and raid as much as you can. There is eco back here that's not underneath a bunch of castles. So maybe that's your best avenue of attack, but another castle's going to go down for Andy. Gets 1 more up in the middle. He is repairing with so many villagers here, though. He's going to run out of stone pretty soon. And it's actually Zaryab that's going to lose his castle first. But here come the Paladin. They're a little... Well, are they? No, they're actually on time. Castle goes down for Andy. Trebs go down for Andy. So the castle stays alive behind this. Nice dome by the trebuchet on that siege onager right before it died. But Andy cannot break the Teutons. Eco is mostly even, although, yeah, this is what we needed to see. The Farimba Light Cav nuking out the farming eco in the north. Really good job there. This is absolutely what you need to do as Andy. You need to do that, and then you need to somehow eventually clear this up. It is a lot of Paladin right now, and not a lot of Halberdier, so potentially just a bunch of Farimba Camels could do alright here. And he also sneaky little sniping on the trebuchets here with a bombard cannon. Ooh, great shot on the Cav archers, though. Grubs are falling. The Teutonic Knights will do very well against the everything that the Malians can make. They kind of have to go... They have to stay on something, right? Cav Archer or Hand Cannon to deal with the Teutonic Knights. If that's going to be a main part of the composition here for Zaryab. Still raiding around the back. Forcing slow Teuton Paladin to chase after the Farimba Light Cav is not ideal. They have found their way underneath the castles finally, so they should go down eventually. Eventually this castle will... Okay, never mind. It's so frustrating how Light Cav and Hussar, like, the distance between them and the villager is just so good that it completely avoids ballistics all the time. Here's the issue for Andy, though. He's lost multiple castles. I think 3 castles he's lost now. Up in here. He still somehow has castles on the sides, though. So, let's see. A lot of people have, including me, have said the trade workshops feel a little bit underwhelming on this map. If there was ever a game to show off their value, it would be this one. Because Andy's had them most of the game. Also collecting some relics behind this. We're trying to. Oh, excuse me. Paladin roll in though. Camels. Find a really good fight. And Andy's not done yet. He's lost many castles, but he's still here. He still has a castle in the middle. He's got a lot of trebs now. Got to be repairing round 2 for Zaryab, but he's only got 4 villagers repairing, which is not going to get it done underneath all of these trebuchets. So the castle falls. Farimba Lycav are there. There's only 13 halb on the field. So the siege should be sniped. Maybe the Trebs still survive? They really should not have, I don't think. Gebetto can maybe... Are Gebetto even good against the Teutonic Knights, though? No, they're terrible. Look at how little damage they do to the Teutonic Knights. Look at that. This guy has survived, like, 6 volleys of hand axes. Like, I know they're fast, so they can kite forever, but, like... They really just do not do damage to these guys. Trebs are going down. Castle, of course, did go down for Zaryab. And if Zaryab loses another castle somewhere, it really opens up his eco. Another castle for Andy. How many castles has Andy put down? 3... 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, at least 9. A lot of castles. This one's going to start to get trebbed before it begins. The Gebetto are chasing the Teutonic Knights and are running into siege onagers. They can snipe siege onagers decently well, though the extra armor on these guys should be pretty good, right? But this is the problem. It's unironically a full Teutonic Knight play here for Zaryab, and it should be. The Keepy boys, they're just too strong. Nothing can kill them. We have to go hand cannons. And... well... Hand cannons always are kind of sketchy versus siege onager civs, right? But... you gotta do what you gotta do. Teutonic Knights are finally cleared up. Andy's going to lose another castle, though. I don't think the Farimba Lycav will arrive in time. It's another castle down. Ooh, 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 and Andy's not paying attention. Loses 3 trebuchets to a small group of paladin over here. Very unfortunate, as Zaryab maybe discovers there's some... No, he's been over here before, right? That's not the first time he realized all this was here, was it? Andy! I'm punching my mic in anger. This is a classic RMer pro monastery right here for Andy, man. I swear. You will never see more disgusting monasteries than from a pro RMer. It's so bad. Just bring them home, brother. Please bring them home. Nice raid. Rating potential. Zaryab is kind of running out of wood lines to take. He's going to have to fight back here eventually. He's losing so much here, actually. Huge raid. Woodline massacred. He's going to have to... I mean, he's got TCs here, kind of, but that's not super protecting that woodline. He spent so much stone in his main base. Excuse me if you can hear the fire station alarm in my background. Alright, let's see. I said this was sketchy, right? Hand cannons against the SO. But it's been good micro for Andy so far. Teuton Scouts. We're making... Oh, yeah, there. Yep, and there it is. We're making Teuton Scouts here from Zaryab. And they're doing alright. They're actually doing alright. They will not do alright against the Fernba Light Cav. Teuton Scouts are better than some Light Cav because of the extra armor, but not these ones. Not these ones. Man, the Teutonic Knights are such beasts, man. They just sit in those big fights and take it. Castle over here fell for Andy. So his monastery is exposed. He brought all of the relics here. He brought all 4 of his relics here. That's crazy. At least make another monastery. Like, he brought relics from, like, over here. Surely. I didn't notice where the relics were exactly on the map, but... it's not even saving you time at that point. And he's got another push in him, though. Treb War. He's got more Cav Archers on the field. They're doing their best, man. They're really doing their best. Zaryab loses another castle. Andy... might not. It's only 2 Trebs here for Zaryab. He's got 2 more over here, taking out Andy's side base. He's got Teuton Scouts raiding underneath the TCs on the left. This is a crazy game, actually. Andy has control over this trade workshop map-wise, but literally in the game, it's Zaryab's. Is this a good enough push for Andy? I think he's correctly realized that he needs to end this game right now. If he keeps waffling, I guess he can play, like, wood control. But he's losing the sides and stuff, right? So I think that's going to be tough to do long term. I think he needs to do a big push right now, and I think he's doing it. Is it enough? We're going full Teuton trash. Zaryab is. He's out of gold, I guess. He's making a monastery to yoink all those relics. If Zaryab wins this game, it's going to unironically be because Andy gifted him all 5 relics. And I'm going to be very upset. I'm going to be very upset about it if that does happen. Treb's going down. A lot of units are dying for Zaryab, though. The military count is still kind of even, surprisingly. But the castle falls. That's big. That's really big for Andy. Monk's coming out. Andy's going to be the one out of gold pretty soon. He's got 600 gold there, but there's no villagers left. They all died. And the Trebs are all dying too for Andy. I'm getting a little scared. It's still okay. Zaryab's down to 55 vills. But man, I'm getting spooked. I'm getting real spooked. Villagers dying at the front here for both players. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I think Zaryab's gonna have to call the GG here, surely. He's down to 60 total population, right? Surely he has to call the GG here. All right. Oh boy, Andy goes up 2-0. This one was a really good game, though. Zaryab was very close to winning this game a few different times. In the end, Andy played the win condition of restricting Zaryab's base, right? He wasn't really taking very good fights most of this game, but Zaryab just couldn't expand. He couldn't find gold. He was struggling to find wood. And really well played by Andy. Really, really well played. All right. Andy, up 2-0. That is a win with the Malians over the Teutons. That feels pretty good for Andy as well. And that was on one of Zaryab's home maps. So all around good results. But we're not done yet. We're going to be moving on to Outcrop. So, like, Vietnamese versus Bulgarians, I guess, right? I say I'm totally unconvinced with myself because they're gonna go for some. For some reason I feel like they're gonna go crazy civs here that I'm never gonna guess, but it just makes so much sense, right? You have Saracens and Berbers for Sunburn and Hyper Random. You have Vietnamese for Outcrop. That feels great. Zaryab has like Goths, I guess, for Sunburn. Britons for Hyper Random and Bulgarians for Outcrop. Like it makes so much sense to me. So I'm looking forward to loading into this game and it being something crazy. Let's find out. Okay, guys, do we count this as an accurate prediction or not? You tell me. Is this an accurate prediction? It is. Welcome in. Games 3. We're on Outcrop here. Andy versus Zaryab. It is the Chinese for Andy, and it is the Hindustanis for Zaryab. So the two civs I was quite sure we were not going to see in this series at all. Both picked here on Outcrop. Andy even drops the GLHF. Okay, let's see. Nice snipe there by Zaryab. Only one, though. So, the Chinese are not a land civilization in Deathmatch. Mostly. They really are not. They've got some options, though. They've got these Fire Lancers, which should do okay against the camels. They have okay Cav Archers, I suppose, which is kind of the meta on Outcrop is Cav Archers. Bill's staying alive so far for Andy. He even got a retaliatory Bill snipe in here somewhere. But he's going to lose another one. But equally, I'm talking about the Chinese. The Hindustanis are not a good 1v1 DM civ. They really are not. They're also going Cav Archers. Oh boy. So, battle of the somewhat mediocre Cav Archers here. But I guess it kind of makes sense, right? Both are okay. Parthian's not the biggest deal in the world, I suppose. Against the Fire Lancers, I guess Cav Archers should do okay. It's 5 Pierce Armor, though. The Fire Lancers are definitely tankier than a Halb, for instance. But yeah, with the champions as well mixed in. Not good champions, they missed their last armor upgrade, but it's enough to take this fight. Both players thinking about the sides here. And, well, the Fire Lancer is going to take a good fight here, but the villagers are all going to die for Andy. Both players going for, well, thinking about going for castles in the north. So far, most of the pressure has been up the gut, though. And Andy is already mixing in skirmishers and light cav, because this is such a gold-heavy composition between the Fire Lancers and the Cav Archers. He doesn't even have any gold left for the Chukanu, which I feel like is kind of the best unit you can make as the Chinese. Especially against the Hindustanis, it feels pretty good, I think. Zaryab really doing a good job on the sides here. He's denied expansion both ways. So if he can survive this center push, he's going to be feeling okay. The hand cannons are going down to the fire lancers, though. These shots are abysmal by the hand cannons, by the way. What do we think? What civ theoretically should even be preferred here? It actually might be the Chinese. Rocket carts are really good against these ranged units that Zaryab is trying to make. You don't really want to go camels against the Chinese, I don't think. At least not while they have fire lancers out. Gulam should get destroyed by fire lancers, right? Should they not? It should be really bad. They do snipe some of the rocket carts, I suppose, which are a big problem for the military here that's on the field for Zaryab. Both players have been denied off the sides. Really high-level stuff here. Very rarely do you see both players totally denied off both sides, right? They can't really afford to send much military out to secure the landings. There's a couple raiding units on both sides have done tremendous damage. Andy finally gets a castle up in the north. Cav Archer Mirror is not what I expected to see, but it does make sense. Heavy skirmisher as well for Andy. But everything Zaryab's making is bad to skirms, right? He has to switch into Hussar now. I guess the Gulams are not bad versus skirms, but they're just bad generally. And, well, this could go... Let's see, I'm actually curious who wins this fight, because Andy has a better military, or a bigger military, but he's diving underneath, like, TCs, he's diving underneath castles with it, so I think Zaryab's going to take a really good fight here. Andy's eco's looking really good behind this, though. I was not paying attention to Zaryab's boom. He keeps sending villagers out here to die, so the eco KD's not in his favor anyway, but he just really is not producing as many villagers as Andy has. So the fight's going okay, but only 20 vills on the field for Zaryab. Andy's up to 70. And... I mean... I think Zaryab's gonna fight this back, loses the castle to one of the last few Treb shots. That feels really bad, man. But he does clear up that first army. Where are these villagers going, Andy? Andy gifts a few Vill kills to Zaryab. And I think Andy should be able to stabilize from here. He has a really bad military right now. It's almost all light cav and skirmishers, but he had 50 on gold very briefly. Yeah, he's got almost 50 on gold, so he should be able to get back into the good composition, which is like... Really, I think Fire Lancer like Chukunu is probably the ideal composition here for Andy. Although maybe just the mobility of the Cav Archers is worth sticking with, I'm not sure. Yeah, the Gulam, man, they just don't feel good. You have to be in a very particular situation for Gulam. They can be really good, but they really need the right matchup. And unfortunately for them, that matchup usually does not exist in DM. Because it really, like... I mean, I guess kind of, right? The Gulam are good against archers. That's the one thing they're really good against. So, theoretically, the Chinese are making archers here. Andy has positioning in the north, but is having that position trebbed a bit by Zaryab. It's full Gulam for Zaryab. Full Gulam. They can snipe siege. They've got decent pierce armor, so they can kind of run underneath castles. They don't have a ton of HP, but it's like vaguely viable. They do not do well against Cavalier. But with the castle there too, it's fine, I guess. And you know what? Ghulam deny castle in the south for Andy. Andy's up to 150 villagers. He's kind of over booming a little bit. Especially with the Chinese. I feel like nothing you make with the Chinese is that expensive, right? So you kind of need the military numbers more than the resource income. 50 on gold. Struggling a little bit on wood and food now is Andy. As we've got a good old-fashioned Trebor in the north. Well, Andy's not overboomed anymore because not only is he producing villagers into the Ghulam, but he's also sending villagers into the Ghulam from his own base. So he's back down to 133 vills. Oh my god, the Ghulam saved this castle. It was down to like 300 HP, and the Ghulam saved it. What a game, man. Hindustani's full Ghulam winning the game is crazy. He's not won yet, though, and he is coming in on the south. He's trying to get a castle down there. He's also pushing with a trebuchet. Zaryab does have some siege down here already and not much military. He's got about a quarter of a castle of Ghulam. That's it. And the Chukanu, you need a lot of Ghulam, right? The Chukanu can kill Ghulam. You need to be able to get in on the Chukanu. Ooh, don't fight the Cavalier, man. That's not the fight to take. Alright. Andy takes control over the south. Zaryab continues to push in the north. Doesn't have a ton of control over here. He's just got that one castle slowly being repaired up. And Zaryab switches back into camels, which I guess do pretty good against the Chukanu. Right, the Imperial camels, they kind of have decent pierce armor, kind of. And Zaryab clears this up. A couple Ghulam arrive at the end. They do a little bit of pass-through damage. That's why they're so good against the archer units that tend to group up. Alright, they don't quite clear it up, but they get pretty close. Zaryab trying to get a foothold in the north, but Andy has halted the push and is going to prevent that TC from going up. That's unfortunate for Zaryab. And yeah, okay. Andy has reclaimed a really commanding position. Zaryab also is kind of capped out, rather, at 90 villagers, which... If the Chinese can afford to have a few fewer villagers, I think the Hindustanis kind of need to have more villagers. But yeah, I think this is over. I think Andy's going to go up 3-0. Zaryab is out of gold, which is terrible for the Hindustanis. They do not have good trash, in particular. And... yeah, I think it's over, man. It was a good pushback. The Ghulam were actually putting in work for the first time, maybe in DM history, but not quite enough to outlast. Again, Andy just with more eco, right? As Zaryab calls the GG. He kind of just is able to outlast Zaryab in all three? Yeah, kind of all 3 games so far. Andy's just been able to outlast. Andy, obviously, you know, Andy's a top, whatever you would consider him these days, 20 player in the world at least, at any given moment. So it's really tough against Andy in these longer games. But Zaryab is obviously one of the best DM players in the world, so not necessarily a mismatch. But yeah, this is what Andy's good at, right? Okay, Andy wins the set, but that's not enough. He wants more, and I think he's going to get more. He wins with the Chinese. This is crazy. Winning with the Chinese in the way in one set is wild. It was against the Portuguese and the Hindustanis, but, you know, it's fine. And he still has the Saracens and the Berbers available to him here for the last two maps, his home maps as well. So I guess Andy needs to decide if he prefers... Where are we going next? Sunburn. So if it's going to be Sunburn, I'm anticipating Goths. So I guess you go Saracens. Berbers would also be good here, but Saracens feel a lot better against the Goths, right, than the Berbers do. So I think it's Saracens here. And then you go Berbers on hyper random, and Zaryab, I guess, goes Bulgarians on hyper random, and prays that he gets a decent map for the Bulgarians. All right, let's find out. We move on to Sunburn. Welcome in game 4, Andy versus Zaryab here in TDM 6. We are on Sunburn, and it is indeed, finally I have made a correct prediction. It is the Goths for Zaryab versus the Saracens for Andy. Andy going for the clump with the Saracens. So he wants to go full Mameluke Siege Onager. I'm down, man. I am so far down for that. On the other side, Zaryab's going to try and rush with the Goths. He's getting barracks up as fast as he can. He's also getting an archery range up. I don't know for what. I guess if you're going for the clump, you need an archer ranged unit, right? To snipe these vills. Maybe if Zaryab can... He's really housed, though. He lost the villager making the house. That's unfortunate. Really good snipe there by Andy with his opening scout. All right, Zaryab's going to do the maxi. He's going Goth CA. It's not going to be his main composition. He's just going to try and get them forward and deny the castle, but one castle is already up for Andy. Saracens do get Treadmill Crane, so it's tough to outrace them to the castle, even on a map like Sunburn. But I think Zaryab maybe could have done it if he wasn't housed. It's actually a huge deal that he was housed for that moment, right? If the Cav Archers come out 30 seconds faster, they maybe could have caused a lot of issues here for Andy. Now, though, what do you do as the Goths, man? I think it's just over, no? How do you beat Mameluke SO as the Goths, bro? It's over. Yeah, Andy even got a second Vill kill, right? Look easy pointing that out. So he did the clump and still managed to get multiple Vill snipes on the back end. Really good job by Andy. Goths don't get Thumbring or Parthian, so they're not particularly good Cav archers, but I guess as they get Bracer, like... I don't know what you can possibly make to kill Mamelukes here. I guess you have to go Onager, but like it's just Onager, and they don't even. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good, bro. It's really not good. It's 114 to 1 KD in Andy's favor, by the way. This game ends 124 to 2 total KD in Andy's favor. Probably the worst KD I've ever seen in my life, as Zaryab smartly taps out before the KD can get even worse for him. Holy. Yeah, I don't know. I think Zaryab needed to be a little faster, right? That's the only thing. And Andy sniped a villager making a house, so Zaryab was housed for... We can actually watch it back real fast. I don't usually watch games back, but I think we probably can afford to do it in this case, because I want to really pay attention to Zaryab's base, right? He starts with the barracks, but he needs an archery range coming up right now. He's got them placed. No, these are all... Yeah, he's got archery ranges out here. Okay, he goes for the archery range now. But the Goth infantry produces so fast, even though he only has one barracks down, that he gets housed. I guess it doesn't matter yet. He doesn't have the archery range even up, right? This villager is denied from the house. Oh my god, and then he comes back and he loses it. Oh, Jesus. So Zaryab is pop capped at 10 for a really long time. Why did he make the house so far away? So it's only now... minute and a half into the game, and Zaryab finally gets above 10 population. I think that's just too slow, right? And he's already almost got this castle complete. Yeah, I think that was a really good play by Andy. And then he still runs around here. He snipes another villager building a house. And that's all she wrote. That's all she wrote. Oh my gosh. Crazy, man. And then the KD just does not happen. What are the 2 units that Zaryab kills? I already missed one of them, I guess. What's the second unit that Zaryab kills? I'll zip through the last few moments here so we can see these giant SO shots one more time. Oh my god, it's such good siege micro from Andy, man. It's so good. He lost 1 unit there. That's crazy. Alright. Well, yeah, Andy kind of has backed himself into a really... Well, he hasn't backed himself into a corner. He's backed Zaryab into the corner, I suppose, here. There's just not really anything you could do there as Zaryab, I don't think. And now we move on to hyper random. Surely it's going to be Berbers against, I guess, Bulgarians. Do you ever pick Vietnamese here as Andy? Probably not, right? Bulgarians aren't the worst against Berbers, I suppose. Though it does matter what the map looks like. So let us waste no time and let's go into the final game. Let's see what Hyper Random has in store for us. Zaryab really would like to get a win against Andy. And welcome in, final game, Andy versus Zaryab. We're hoping for not a sweep. That's all we can hope for now. We've got an Edward Longshanks as our opening scout. So he's got crazy attack, actually. 16 plus 4 attack on Mr. Shanks. Zaryab in these outpost walls, bro. Why does he do this? We've seen so many outpost walls from Zaryab here. It's actually crazy. He's going to lose a villager to the Shanks. No, he didn't. She sucked up into the TC, I suppose. She doesn't. Wait, what? Okay, yeah. Okay, it's fine. I was briefly confused by these numbers I'm looking at, but I guess this makes sense, yeah. So, Zaryab loses his Longshanks. Andy's remains alive. He's looking for weak villagers, but both are dead. Alright. Decent opening for Andy again, and look at this. He is back again. Guess who's back? Back again. It is Andy in your base, killing your face, forcing Zaryab to be housed yet again, as houses had to be abandoned on the bottom. Krepost had to be abandoned at the top. He will get the Krepost up, surely. Surely he gets this Krepost up, yeah. But Andy has really good map control already. We haven't talked about the map yet. It's fairly straightforward, I think. Lots of gold, not much stone. So that, I guess there's enough stone though, right? For a DM start, probably doesn't matter that much. I don't know which of these civs wants the stone more, to be honest. Probably the Berbers, I suppose, since you can make cheap Kreposts instead as the Bulgarians. But Andy has all of the positioning in the world, and he is clamping down on these stones early as well with TCs and castles. He's starting out with Cav Archer. He's just going Cav Archer. Ooh, nice shot for Zaryab. Get out of the way, get out of the way, get out of the way, get out of the way. There we go. Krepos on the left. Could be denied. Should be denied, and it is. Zaryab's really in a bad way here. And he's playing the Bulgarians, so it's even worse if you're in a bad way. Let's see. I mean, he's going to have to get some sort of map control back here. Conics come out. Halbs are out. These outpost quick walls. He always goes for one stone wall and one outpost wall. I don't fully understand it. He wasn't even walled in anyway, but the Cav Archers killed that Vil regardless. And Andy's boom should be progressing nicely behind this. He's getting a lot of TCs up. Zaryab's still on 1 TC throughout all of this. He is getting the Krepos up, though, so maybe he can at least survive the next few minutes. Nice snipes by Andy on the Siege Onagers, though. And yeah, castle on this hill for Andy. He's 1 Vil castled multiple times now across the middle. He's got Trebs here already. I think Andy is going to end up opening his TDM6 season with a sweep here, as Zaryab has lost his 1 TC. He's trying to TC back here. He's running with his 12 villagers. That's all he's got. And the Cav Archers are picking apart the Halb pretty nicely. The Camels do pretty nice against the first stage of the Conics, at least. And Cav Archers can kill them once they dismount. Trying to go for Rams. A lot of people say Rams are a Berber killer. So he's maybe got the right idea here. Can he fight this back? It doesn't matter is the bigger question. He's going to take a pretty good fight here. The castle completes for Andy, but it's going to go down to the Rams. Really good SO shots on the Cav Archers. But he's down to 11 villagers. This TC's been denied. He's going to get this TC up at least, so he can start making Vils again. Huge. Massive, actually. But I think it's over, man. Andy is twin castle stacking in the middle here. Every unit that goes down for Zaryab is a travesty that his economy will never recover from. So it's been a good push. It's been a really good push, actually, for Zaryab, but I just don't think he can replace these units, right? So eventually he's going to run out of steam. And Andy's just going to win. But it's been a good push. The Rams have been doing their job. Running underneath a lot of castles now is all of Zaryab's military. Also, Andy doesn't care as much about losing these Cav Archers, right? He's got... Well, he doesn't have that many castles left, though, I suppose. I was going to say he's going to be transitioning into Camel Archers anyway. But if he loses these castles at the front, he's only got 2 to produce from, so maybe he does care. More Rams. Does he save these castles? Not that one. And not this one either, I don't think. And not this one either, actually. It's been a really good fight for Zaryab. He's spamming TCs everywhere he can, because he knows he's got to get boomed back into this game as soon as possible. Can he get boomed back into this game in time? It is only 62 villagers for Andy. He's been raided pretty hard. Well, I don't know if it counts as raiding. He's lost villagers forward pretty hard. He's trying to go for 2 more castles, but I think the military has run out for Zaryab. So I don't know if he can deny these two. I was starting to believe for a moment, but like I said, I think the eco difference early in that game early in this game was maybe just a little bit too much. And he's gonna start trebbing down the creposts now. He can start trebbing down the production buildings. It's 50 to 19 military, and Zaryab's gonna go to the market. He's going to market. The quick wall is actually absorbing shots, or else Andy misclicked this wall. I'm not quite sure which. He must have clicked that, right? Or else it's one of those weird things where sometimes trebs can't hit over stuff. Anyway, Zaryab's dead. He's gonna go for one more push here. He ejects with all of his rams. He's got a couple SO in here as well, and a couple of Halb, so he can maybe get out here and push these castles down one more time. He's actually going to try and sell out for the trebuchets, but there's so many Hussar here now. Yeah, the SO go down behind. Rams do snipe one trebuchet, but that's going to be it. And I think he's going to have to call the GG, surely, right? It is the final game, so maybe he feels like he wants to keep going as long as possible. But I don't see any possible way Zaryab can come back in this one. Genitors! Andy go... So, to recap this series, Andy has made Genitors. He's made... no, he didn't make the Teuton Scouts, right? He made the Tiger... We've seen so many crazy units in this series, but it actually was pretty well split between the two players. So we've seen Genitors, we've seen Teuton Scouts, we've seen Organ Guns, we've seen the Hero unit for the Way. We saw full Gulam. It's been a great set, man. What more can I say? It's been a great set. Probably the best 5-0 set I've ever cast, as Zaryab does indeed tap out. Andy starts out strong here in Tarnished Deathmatch 6, and he immediately puts the target on his back in Division 1B as the player that you need to beat. Because Zaryab didn't even play badly here, right? Like, the draft wasn't ideal for either player. I do think Andy outdrafted Zaryab a tiny bit, but not by a ton. And then I don't think Zaryab played too badly in any of the games, right? Like, it's a bad Civ matchup a few times. Many times it was a bad Civ matchup, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it. So, not even really a bad showing by Zaryab. There were a few moments like what? Did he actually have a single bad game in a vacuum? Not really, right? Like, there's not... Probably Sunburn was actually Zaryab's worst game, just because of being housed at the beginning. So, if that's your worst played game, you played pretty well, because that was a Civ loss anyway. What a set, man. What a set. We saw the Way. We saw the Chinese on full land map. We saw the Hindustanis and the Goths. All the Portuguese go full organ guns. It was amazing. It was amazing.